South Africa have made me happy this weekend, guys. Very, very happy this weekend. At least I ended off the weekend with a nice. What's going on? So that very, very happy this weekend. Sorry, I'm hearing playback from my other from another browser. My bad. So yeah, they've made me very happy this weekend, and winning obviously the series, unassailable lead. We've taken 2-0 in the series. A massive, massive, two convincing wins in Sri Lankan conditions. This just shows when we have our best players what can actually happen and what we have available to us. I think that there was a lot of questions, obviously, after the World Cup and the selection with regards to the World Cup selection and George Linder not being in the side. There was a lot of hatred or criticism that was given to Bjorn Fortuin on the socials, saying that he's the reason why George Linder missed out, which is so false. From that perspective, I think that Vian Mulder actually is the one that keeps George Linder from getting a position in that side as an all-rounder. The extra seaming all-rounder might not be necessary, I think, in the World Cup in those conditions, but we'll wait and see how he gets utilized. But generally speaking, I just want to talk about today's game and starting first and foremost before we get into this topic and the main topic. And I'm just going to let you guys know, the guys that didn't get to see the full game, just what exactly happened and what transpired. South Africa won by 9 wickets. They were put into a bowl first. So Sri Lanka won the toss in this particular instance, which is a funny one because it was a toss that they probably wish they lost. Because ultimately, only a 30 from Kusal Pereira new into the side from the last game. So 20 from Banuka. And other than that, nobody else put on runs. South Africa were excellent with the ball in hand. Spinners collectively dominated Sri Lanka, which I was very shocked by because Sri Lanka should be able to play spin, should be a little bit more comfortable against spin. But Shamsi's been world class, 3 for 20. I mean, the way Aiden Markram bowled as well, 3 for 21, excellent, showing his role and what role he's going to play in the World Cup most likely. And then obviously Kesha Maharaj taking a wicket and Andrich Noik here taking a wicket too. I love how Bjorn Fortuin celebrated. He obviously is aware of everything that has been said about him, and he puts his hands on his ears just saying, noise, block it out. So excellent from him, and congratulations and well done to him too. I think Maharaj's captaincy has been crucially important as well, the way he's bowled his spinners and trusting himself and when to pick himself as a bowler. That I thought was quite remarkable. So it's very interesting that it's very, very pleasing the way we took this game and the way we approached this game. I think it was excellent from their part. Quinton de Kock just being clinical, doing what he needs to do. Risa Hendricks a little bit, he's contributing over there. But also I think that the way Markram just came in and just played the supporting role for Quinton de Kock really shows me good signs for the future and for the rest. So, guys, I want to get your take. What were you most impressed about with regards to this particular performance? Aditya, let's start with you, and then we can go with Abai.
Certainly the bowling. It was great to see South Africa's battery of spinners now operate as consistently as they have been over the last year or so. And it's good to see the depth that they have in the spin department. I thought this was a particularly important game for Bjorn, and it was crucial for him to put in that performance because, as you said, a lot of the noise about George Linden not being selected in that team is equal to Bjorn Fontaine not having ability, which we all know is not true. Bjorn Fontaine has been a quality spinner. He is good. He has begun a career at the international level and has been impressive thus far. So this is a good audition for him going into a high-pressure World Cup, and I thought he did phenomenally well in the way that he started his bowling. Additionally, Aiden Markram was great with the ball. W. Shamsi, that man is world class. He is
Absolutely.
unbelievable. For him to be able to dominate in spinning conditions, of course, but against batsmen who are well versed with spin is commendable. And he keeps churning out these performances day in and day out. Quinton de Kock with a bat, always good to see him make runs at the top of the order. I'd say the same with Aiden Markram. He looked quite clinical today. Some of his boundaries, to deep extra cover and the one straight off the ground towards the end. It's fantastic. In saying that, perhaps the one question mark that still lingers with me is the balance of the team. It's very difficult to. South Africa won today. They won the first T20 as well, but it's very difficult to be convinced by a lineup that is batting KG Rabada at seven. That's too long a tail, because again in these first two games South Africa won, but they shouldn't paper over those cracks, because if South Africa are batting second and they're chasing 220, can you really give the bulk of that responsibility to five batsmen? I think that's a bit unfair. So that's certainly something that South Africa needs to rethink. But all in all, I'm very happy for the team today.
You're talking about the Shamsi over there. I think particularly that ball to Kararatnala to dismiss him. My God, that was a ripper and a half. It turned a mile past the inside edge and rattled the stump. So it was excellent from his part. I think the drift that he got across him and the way he landed out of outside of stump. I mean, he drew the batsman completely into that particular into the ball, and it gripped into the surface and got that whole turn and everything. It turned so sharply, smashed into the leg stump. So I think, I mean, what a guy! Excellent from his part. I think. What do you guys think of? Well, bye. I want to ask you. What do you think of the bowling performance, particularly from South Africa?
Now, let's see. So far, I'd say I agree with all the points made, but I'm going to say something tiny bit different. I was particularly very happy about the captaincy. I think when it comes to Maharaj, he's very hands off. He let the others take center stage and perform before he introduced himself very late. So I think it was a pretty selfless move, and it's nice to see every single one of the spinners be among the wickets.
Yeah, and that brings us on to the topic today. Excellent point that we wanted to make today is about the spinners and whether the spinners can actually give us a chance to win the World Cup. Do they do, or even challenge at least? Because I want to see a strong challenge. I know I sound like a United fan now. I just want to see a strong challenge for that trophy this season, for this particular World Cup. I think that our bowlers are really learning how to feed off each other as well, to complement each other in the middle, and to completely dominate a team like that is what really makes me excited. I mean, we didn't see this many spinners play for against West Indies, but we completely throttled them. And particularly Shamsi, the way he bowled and the way Pavuma used him in the match at specific parts to really put pressure on them. And Shamsi's delivered every single time. It's very difficult to get consistency as a wrist spinner. And yet every single time Shamsi plays, he just looks like he's getting better and better and better and better. And he's just improving constantly. And yes, there is a small window for him to be smashed or hit for six, etc. There is a chance of that happening. But ultimately, I feel that he's the type of guy that comes back stronger. Like he was hit for six, and then he pulled off that magnificent ball. To get a wicket. So I think that's really puts confidence in my heart going into this World Cup, that at least we can challenge. I was listening to Neil Manthorpe speak, and he was talking about how South Africa should maybe approach the World Cup, and how they could be a very good chance for that they could challenge at least, or get into the deep into the tournament. He started off his whole argument by expecting us to get out of the group. I don't think you can be so wholeheartedly certain and say 100% that they're going to get out of the group, Aditya.
No, no. Look, it's a World Cup. Anything can happen, right? And if I think every team has certain holes that can be exploited. South Africa is no different, but I don't think you can rule out uh, South Africa doing well in the tournament for sure. Um, Australia hasn't been great. Australia and New Zealand have both been disasters in Bangladesh in in the last month or so. But no one seems to be ruling them out. So I know South Africa has had um, a pretty ordinary track record for for a while now, and we all know what the holes in the team are. But um, India is one of the strongest teams in the tournament. They've got certain challenges as well. England have certain challenges as well. So I don't think the perfect team exists, but at the international level, everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and anyone can produce anything on the day.
Now, Ba, you gave a little stat off air and also in your report about the last few T20s. Do you want to give the stat? And also, can you just tell me? I'm sure that Boucher deserves some credit for getting those wins under his belt, but just give that stat and tell me your thoughts on Mark Boucher.
All right. So for those who are not aware, this is the sixth consecutive win in this format for the Proteas. So if we were to backtrack, it's Game 5 against West Indies, all the games against Ireland, and the first two games in this series. So that's 6 in a row. And I think when it comes to giving Boucher credit, I wholeheartedly agree there. I think just like how we criticize performances that don't go so well, we have to equally give credit for games that do go well.
Yeah. Yeah, but particularly I think the way they approached or Boucher approached his thinking behind. I think we're seeing it more in the T20 game than in the other formats, hey Aditya. Where a buyer, when a buyer, when Boucher speaks about, I wish it was a buyer there coaching, but when it was Boucher, when Boucher said certain things about the T20 game and what he wants to do, and the way he's going to go into the whole system and the way he's going to go with the mindset that he's going to play. I think also by selecting, it's not obviously his decision, but the fact that he got so many spinning conditions to prepare, I think particularly the way they've grown from strength to strength in the T20 format and how players have performed. I mean, particularly how Aiden Marker's game has leaped in amazingly improved. Like obviously getting with the Kings Punjab now in the IPL. I think he's gonna just soar after this signing. I think the stuff that he's gonna learn there, he's in India playing in an IPL consistently, is going to be remarkable. And what I like about it is there's room for him to fail there without him getting harshly criticized by South Africans. Like I think the criticism that you get from your home country is a lot harder to take than getting criticism from people from outside of your country. So I think that Aiden will really grow leaps and bounds, I think, in India. And yes, Boucher needs to get some credit for the way they've approached the T20 game. What is your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, I think if we're criticizing Boucher when South Africa lose, we need to give him credit when South Africa win. And if there's any shining light in this team, it has to be the development of spinners. We can't fault Keshav Maharaj at all. He's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Took a wicket of his first ball in T20 cricket. That's amazing. Taresh Shamsi's growth over the years has been outstanding. And I'd say the same for Bjorn Fontaine and George Linde as well. And I think George Linde's development as a batsman, perhaps the way that he's been used as a batsman as well earlier this year, we must give that credit to Boucher for sure. So I think if, like I said earlier, if you're criticizing Boucher for when the team loses, he must be given credit for when the team wins as well. That's not to say that everything is 100% with the team. There's still certain challenges and certain holes that he's probably going to try to iron out. But credit to Boucher. Well done.
Yeah, to add on to that, just like what Aditya said, there's no perfect team. Well, I like to believe that nothing's necessarily perfect, but of course there are areas to improve each time the game is played, even when things go well, because I think the aim should always be to strive for excellence and to reach new heights.
It makes me think now the way this team performs under Keshav's captaincy, it's going to bring up questions about Bavuma. It's going to bring questions up about Bavuma, whether he should get a space in the side when he comes back straight away and get the captaincy straight away after Keshav, the way he's performed as a captain so far in his short stint. And I was looking at it and I was seeing now a lot of people want to use quotas as a marker and as the reason for why Bavuma will come straight back into the team. But ultimately, he was replaced by Riza Hendricks. So the quotas are generally fine if Lungingidi plays as well from that perspective. I'm just trying to weigh it up from that perspective. But if you look at the team currently, Riza Hendricks has been doing really well as well. There's some form going into the World Cup. I wouldn't mind, actually, if Temba Bavuma was just injured. I wouldn't mind to actually give the first game to Keshav. If he's ultimately, if Temba was injured and going into the momentum, I think momentum is so important. And I think in the World Cup, first game of the season, keeping that momentum would be maybe a good idea. I'm just throwing ideas out there. It could be a possibility. Because ultimately Riza has been pretty good, in every time he's been out there to bat. I think he's done that job that Bavuma does. They do a similar job for the team, I feel. And I think they can both do that job for South Africa. So it's going to be very tricky for Boucher to decide that. Does he go with the rest of the team, what the rest of the nation, or what everybody else thinks? Or a lot of people think from a certain line, because there are two schools of thought here. There's a guys that are on Bavuma's side, and there's guys that are not on Bavuma's side. So where does Boucher go? Through the middle, right, left? Does he go with that? Does he keep him as the captain and let him play? Because he's in the squad and he was named captain. So at that particular point, what does Boucher do? It's going to obviously big questions. I see a lot of people in the comment section right now having a go saying that T20 Temba's not good enough in T20's period. Kesha should be made permanent skipper. I knew that these things are going to come up as soon as Keshav takes, or anybody else takes, the captaincy and we win games, because that criticism Bavuma can't get away from. Is that criticism is going to follow him. Aditya, from your perspective, I think it's more necessary for us to bring in another batsman lower down than higher up and pushing everybody down. I think it's more necessary for us to have a 5-6 batsman, because I believe that David Miller should actually bat a little higher. It seems like there's going to be a little bit of toying with the team still going into the World Cup and with regards to the opening game. But what's your thoughts on that? And Maharaj's captaincy, and whether he should just keep it because of the momentum going into the World Cup, or whether Temba just takes the captaincy back when he comes back.
Look, Maharaj has been brilliant as captain. He's been outstanding, and there's just a certain gravitas about him. It's the word that Telford uses in press conferences to describe Faf. So I think Keshav seems to have that gravitas, and he's led the team unbelievably well. So there's no question that captaincy potential is there. With respect to Temba, he's the incumbent, and if he's fit and ready to play, then perhaps he should get it back. But my major question with Temba is that we don't want a situation where he's injured right now, is rushed back into the team, gets injured midway, and then there's another disruption during the tournament. So I think South Africa need to be wary of rushing Temba back into the system, because at the press conference, I'd asked him what his injury status was, and at the time he said that the experts predicted a 4-week recovery, after which he could probably hold it back again. But that's the thing. Injuries are unpredictable, right? We don't know if an injury is going to progress as per the doctor's sort of plan. But that to me is a challenge. And as you said about David Miller batting higher and just having more batsmen, you know, that's probably the one question that Boucher really needs to think about, because I don't think South Africa can go into the World Cup with five specialized batsmen, one batting all-rounder, and a tail that starts at seven. That's just too much. I that doesn't serve any purpose. That's not going to be. I don't think that can work. To be perfectly honest, against a stronger T20 team, I don't think that balance can work, and it's something that he seriously needs to work out, because uh, because this balance has been a part of the T20 setup for a couple of series now. And if I'm not sure if that's going to change, but I hope it does before the World Cup.
Just want to add something about the recovery time. So 4 weeks for recovery from a thumb fracture, I'd say that's more of a ballpark figure, because for some people it can take longer, for other people it could take a shorter time. I guess it all depends on, yeah, I think how long it takes for women to recover, and the as well as the physio. Like even when it's fully healed, you need time to be able to resume normal activity. So I think it heavily depends on that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Mark Boucher goes into this World Cup with the mindset of nobody's undroppable. If someone is horribly out of form and is struggling, I hope he doesn't like just stick with them and give them time. I think you need to put in guys that can win you games immediately. It takes one or two performances to really win you a T20 match. It's different to ODIs. You have more time in the middle to actually settle yourself. You need guys to come in there and hit the ground running almost immediately and put pressure on the opposition instantly. So I hope he goes into the World Cup with that sort of mindset and thinks about it from that perspective. Now, with regards to our spinners, I just want to get a little bit more from you guys when it comes to that. Oh, we all knew the potential of Aiden Markram and what he was capable of doing. We always spoke about the potential of him maybe being that all-rounder factor, JP Dumini-esque type of player for South Africa, where he can, or Glenn Maxwell type, you could say in a way. But I think that he's shown with his bowling that he's actually better than both of them in that so far. A little bit. No, I'm joking. I'm not going to run away with myself and say that right away. I just think I'm hoping that Taylor Barker can contribute with the ball like he did today more consistently. Do you see him playing that role for South Africa? Obviously, batting high up the order and being used in a couple of overs. I think in T20 cricket, it suits him a lot more um, because they go after a guy like Markram, seeing him coming into bowl, because I don't think a lot of people know his capabilities with the ball. I don't think Kings Punjab. I mean, Aditya, you mentioned this to me offline. You messaged me. You like, I think you did when you told me when you said about you don't think they actually looked at his bowling as a potential thing when they signed him for the Punjab, or was that a you are buying the group? I'm not sure who it was now. Someone said it. I saw it on WhatsApp. That's all I'm saying. This is not what I said. I saw someone say it on WhatsApp that they don't think that Aiden Markram, when they signed him, they thought about his bowling, as a reason for picking him at the Punjab. It was purely for batting. So, Aditya, what's your thoughts on that and Markram's ability with the ball, and what if he will be able to hit the ground running and be utilized like that in the World Cup?
Definitely, Aiden is definitely going to be uh, an asset for South Africa with the ball. And again, we have to give credit to Aiden, because his bowling just seems to be improving. He's produced a couple of good performances, so it's not like it's not like batting teams can now assume that they're just going to go after Aiden and get away with it. He's been a solid performer with the ball. As for his batting, look, we all knew that Aiden's got talent. He's got the potential to succeed at the international level, as long as he sort of figures out his game. So, which he's clearly on the right track. with respect to Punjab, I think they've got more than enough spinners in their ranks to be able to manage their quota of spinners. And Aiden Markram has come in as a replacement for David Milan. So his primary responsibility is always going to be at number three with the bat. So yeah, I think his bowling will be handy, and uh, I do think that it's going to give him an edge over Chris Gale in selection. So Aiden Markram, in my view, will get more game time than most people think he will, uh, because we also have to remember that Aiden Markram is coming of significant cricket. You know, I know Chris Gale is also playing the CPL, but Aiden Markram is coming of significant cricket, and he's a great batsman. He's bowling as well, and he's a fantastic fielder. So I think these factors will contribute to him being selected ahead of Chris Gale. And yeah,
You
waiting to
know
watch
what's
him in red.
yeah, you know what bothers me about these first two games? It's we've been batting with a better light in both of these games, right? We've been lucky that Aiden and Quinton have come off and performed really well in both, and David Miller as well in the opening. But we missed Rassi because of a thigh niggle in the first game, and we missed David Miller with a thigh niggle in the second game. So they so they weren't available to us to be able to see how we would line up if both of them were fit. Now, what I want to know is that how they're going to line up? Will they line up with David Miller, Rassi van der Dussen as one in the side? Will both of them play? Because Rassi does tend to take quite a while to get going. So does he bat at three and then Aiden bat at four? Because given Aiden's ability to be able to move through the game quickly, or do you play Aiden at three where he's been successful recently and bat or opening, and you have Rassi at four? Or how are we going to maneuver? Because I don't think we can play David Miller higher up if Rassi and Aiden are in the team. That's my concern, yeah. Or it does Heinrich Klaassen, because Heinrich Klaassen is also a bit out of form in the T20 format currently. I mean, so we're going into the World Cup without any recognized in-form number six batsman, and that concerns me. Really concerns me. Now, Dwayne Pretorius can play that number six role, possibly, yes, of course. We'd obviously like to see him do it more. He hasn't really had the opportunity to show us that. He showed glimpses of it in the first match. So ultimately, we don't have any other series really to show that. I hope they go gunzo in the last match and really show some exciting attacking cricket going into the last match. Abai, is there anything final words you would like to say before we close this episode from your side, and then Aditya, you can go straight after Abai.
Okay, so I think when it comes to Aiden Markham, I'm really happy about the fact that he got the IPL deal. I think when it comes to his bowling, take nothing away. I think he was excellent, but I think we shouldn't be overly reliant on his bowling to break threatening partnerships. Sorry, but I'm just saying.
I'm laughing at Werner. Sorry, I'm laughing at Werner's comment.
But I think if we're going to accommodate more batters, I think Markham's better off at number three, because I think even during the power play, he knows how to clear the boundary and score quickly. I mean, his strike rate is like high 140s, so that's he can be the danger man, especially since we don't really have that many consistent big hitters, and even a guy like Claessen's out of form. So I'm hoping next game on Tuesday, South Africa makes it 3-0. Hope for the best. And compared to this game, I'm hoping for like a closer, well thought out contest.
Yeah, you see, I think that I predicted 3-0 heading into this particular series. So I'm hoping that they can get it. I think that maybe they will. I'm not thinking that maybe they might just. It's two options over here for Boucher. Either give some guys opportunities that haven't really got the chance right now to just get some legs and rest some of the guys going before the IPL, because he's kind of giving himself the luxury of that now. by winning 2 games and winning the series, or you can go ahead and keep the momentum going and play your best team again. What would you do, Aditya, and your thoughts going into the next match?
I would try to. I've tried to play with a different team balance. I honestly feel like South Africa need to be able to bat till 9, like comfortably bat till 9, to even sort of compete with teams like India and England, and to dominate teams like Australia, because that's my biggest concern. I don't think the quality of batting or the quality of bowling is a problem. With either the pace department or the spinners now. But how Boucher sort of fits all disciplines into that team and ensures that there are enough batting options, enough bowling options. That to me is a challenge, and I feel like he should experiment with a different balance. Because this balance simply is not sustainable for the World T20, and uh, KG Rabada cannot be batting at 7. I cannot see a situation in which South Africa are chasing 200 plus, and you've got, because even your number 6 batsman Dwayne Pretorius cannot be expected to get he cannot be expected to score a 60. And if
Yeah.
he does score a 60, that's a bonus. Dwayne Pretorius is supposed to be scoring 35 of 20 balls or something towards the end of an innings. So now if your top 6 are expected to score 200 plus, then that's normally a miracle. It doesn't happen. So KG cannot be batting at 7 and Maharaj at 8. Then I would, if I were Boucher, I would play with a different team balance and see how that works.
I think George Linda should get a game. I think that would stiffen up the lower middle order. I think batting down to number 6, it's not a sustainable plan at all.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I really enjoyed talking to the both of you and chatting about all things cricket and South Africa. Well, so you heard from the guys. They think that the spinners will win us the World Cup. Let's go. Let's be positive. Let's go do that, and let's see what we come up with. I think, in all fairness and jokes aside, I think that anything between 160 and 170, South Africa can defend. 100%. I think against any team in the world, our bowlers are good enough to be able to defend that. That's my problem. Is if we do get a little bit loose and our bowlers have an off day and the team scores 190 against us or 180 against us, will we be able to chase it? That's my big concern. I'm very worried about the chasing ability. Although we saw some good signs today, I think that I wish we had a better test in the match where we could have really gone for it and had a better test. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Sri Lanka completely capitulated. So thanks a lot for everybody for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button. Also subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. That's 100% free. The link is in the description. Every single issue comes directly to your inbox. We're working on the next issue, which we're going to launch on Wednesday. So please go ahead and do this and subscribe to that. Also, if you subscribe to the channel if you're new, smash the like button and click the notification bell for all future videos. Thank you a lot for tuning in, everybody, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another daily show. Take care, everybody.